When I was learning algebra for the first time, I don't think I fully grasped. Well, I still don't think I fully grasp just how important it is. Also, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall when René Descartes, I'm probably butchering his name, discovered the quadratic formula for the first time. Also, imagine being told that on a first date. All right, well, if you're new, these videos are specifically made to track the progress of going from 7th grade math all the way up to Calculus 2 using Khan Academy in order to get ready to take on MIT computer science content. Now, I track my progress in doing so to give other people an approximation of how long it takes to get this done. Now, with that being said, from June 22nd to July 5th, I clocked a total of 26.14 hours of math, which comes out to roughly 112 minutes a day. Now that's a huge increase because the last update I was at only around 40 minutes a day. But even though I've had that increase, I've only mastered 8th grade math and I've gotten 93% of the way there in Algebra 1, which puts me this far in my overall progress. Now, that's the data, but beyond the data, what's blowing my mind is seeing how algebra just continues to build on itself into later math. And that weirdly is making me want to go deeper into math right now. Now, if only I could tell my 7th grade self when I was first learning algebra, you know what, learn this really well, it's gonna be super important later on. That would have changed everything. And that's because when I was learning algebra for the first time, I felt like I ended up memorizing a ton of the formulas and I didn't really know how or why they worked or anything like that. And that's because when I was learning it, I had a fixed amount of time to learn it. And I don't blame school for this at all. They have a fixed amount of time to teach you this stuff, and sometimes that means you need to memorize it. However, that's the cool part of Khan Academy, is that no longer you have this fixed amount of time. You can go as deep into the math as you would like. For example, the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is one of the most important formulas in all of math. And that's because it maps a quadratic, and a quadratic is a parabola, and parabolas are everywhere. You map economic data in parabolas, you map physics data in parabolas. I mean, they are everywhere, and quadratics will follow you all throughout math. TLDR, quadratics and the quadratic formula are really important, and it would be in your best interest to know them really well. Now, when I was in 7th grade, I just memorized this formula, and I didn't know where it came from or how it worked. However, the coolest thing happened last week on Khan Academy when I was learning the quadratic formula. They took me through the entire process of how to make it. And it was so cool. Basically, you make it by completing the square. And it felt like I was actually there in the 1500s with René Descartes, or however you say his name, actually deriving the quadratic formula. And it looks like this. You know, after I watched that video, something clicked. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Because I used to memorize this. And now from this video, I can now derive it by myself. I know it's no longer something abstract. I can now map something to it and be like, okay, this is where it comes from. This is how I can also make it. And if I forget the formula in the future, I can just derive it now. That's so cool. And that's a super specific example, but I think it's a great point if we zoom out and talk about how best to view this phase and how best to use Khan Academy, because they're interconnected. Now, if you're like me, a super competitive, impatient person, your immediate instinct will be go through Khan Academy as quickly as you can to get to the next level. And unfortunately, Khan Academy's tests can be gamed and you can get mastery doing something like this. However, I would severely urge you and myself, this is a reminder for myself as well, against that approach, because at the end of this, MIT computer science stuff is going to be waiting, and that's going to be extremely challenging. So it'd be in our best interest to use Khan Academy and get as prepared as possible mathematically. And that means taking some time right now to go into the videos, get intuition behind the math, and really learn it as best we can so that we know when we approach the MIT computer science stuff, we are in the best place mathematically to have the best chance to take it on. And that's something I wish I could tell my 7th grade self. And also, I think it's a good point to bring up that taking more time right now doesn't necessarily mean in perpetuity. I mean, later on, since math builds on itself, you could be saving time later on by putting in more time now. So yes, I wish I could tell my 7th grade self that. Hindsight is truly 2020. If anybody's interested in trying this for themselves, I left my Notion template down below. Thank you for letting me nerd out about math with you guys, and thanks for watching.